What's up guys, welcome back to Fancy Goldfish Fanatics. Today we have a really interesting episode on some fish that have been bred by one of the GSGB members, and his name is John. If you do not know what the GSGB is, well, it is the Goldfish Society of Great Britain, and this is run by Star Fisheries. Now, as you know, Star Fisheries is a great sponsor of the channel, and the GSGB is a great way to speak to fellow hobbyists. There is a massive event in September, on the 30th of September as well, that the GSGB are running, where there's going to be a goldfish show, a goldfish auction, and speakers, including me, myself. Yes, I am going to be one of the speakers at this big event. Now, I'm going to talk about the event more so in future videos because it is in September, so we still have a little bit of time before it. But if you are thinking about going, then definitely get in touch with Star Fisheries to register your interest in the event, because I will be there and I'm actually going to be documenting the whole event as well. But onto that more another time. So one of the members reached out to me, and he's actually bred some of his own fish. He's actually crossed a Ryukin with a fantail, which has created quite a nice fish. I always love that people try to experiment, do something different, try to create a new variety, try to create a new color strain, everything like that. I believe that experimenting in obviously an ethical way and a way that is not detrimental to the fish is an absolutely great way to improve in this hobby, learn something new, and share something with someone else in the hobby as well. And that is why they've sent me these videos today. And thank you, John. Hopefully I put across the videos as you expected, and I relay all of the information as well that you've sent to me. Feel free to become a member of the GSGB, and you will get that quarterly magazine to read through and look at articles. So without further ado, let's check out some of his amazing fish and have a close look at what he's been producing. So first up, you can see this is one of his parent fish. So this parent fish is a Ryukin, and it may not look like the normal Ryukins that you would purchase in the Fancy Goldfish store or from a Fancy Goldfish shop, as they don't quite have the arched back that a normal Ryukin would have. Here you can see a picture of the sort of stereotypical Ryukin with that big tall body, that large hump behind the head. But you can see with these fish, they don't quite possess the same attributes. Now, these male Ryukins, well, a few of them are actually descendants from a few fish that won Best in Show at a GSGB event. And this is the other calico fantail that is the mother to the fry, or the youngsters, I should say, that you're going to see in the rest of this video. So here we can see the youngsters, and now these were actually bred last year, so they aren't very big fish, but they are a cross between that blue base calico fantail we saw previously, which had a little bit of a Ryukin essence, I should say, to it. It was a little bit taller than your sort of common fantail and a little bit of a hump, and that was actually crossed with those metallic Ryukins that you saw earlier on in the video. Now, I believe John had 120 youngsters that he's grown on, and he's slowly selected more and more to become fish that he's going to grow on further, fish that he's going to put a little bit more effort into raising, and fish that are slightly better grade. Now, this is a common process and is actually called a culling technique. Often, or potentially, John hasn't actually culled these fish. Maybe he's given some away. But the fish we can see in the video today have gone through that really strict process. And from those 120 fish, he's ended up with 48. I believe he has 10 calico fish and 38 metallic fish. Now, as you can see, they possess those qualities that a fantail would have, and also the qualities that Ryukin would have as well. Now, they aren't too extreme, which is really nice to see, so they will have a good quality of life. There's definitely a really low chance that they'll have any buoyancy or swim bladder issues, because generally on the more extreme Ryukin, they can potentially suffer as they are more extreme in body shape and body type in comparison to a fish that's not quite as tall and is a little bit more elongated, similar to more of a common fancy goldfish and more of a fantail goldfish. Now I'm really liking the coloration on these. You can see we have some bronzes that haven't quite yet molted, and we also have these calicos as well. Now the calicos, I would say, or as John would say, aren't quite the traditional type of calicos, but they are really nice, and I believe he's going to cross them again with another strain of fancy goldfish that I'll show at the end of the video. Now throughout the video you may notice there are a few single-tailed goldfish as well. Now I believe, if someone feel free to connect me in the comment section, but I believe these are called nymphs as they have that single tail, and often these are rejected by breeders. However, John was really a fan of these single-tailed fish because they had a really nice swimming action and a really nice swimming pattern, and you'll see in this still of the video that some of these fish have a really strong body to them and are almost in that sort of tamasaba shape, and I believe he is thinking about breeding these or crossbreeding these back with a tamasaba or a sarasa comet, and I will show a picture of one of those at the end of the video. Now here's a little top down we can see of these fish. We can see they've got quite plump bodies, nothing too extreme like your common tamasaba or ryukin, and they are possessing a few different attributes and different qualities from those ryukin and from the fantails as well. Now the good thing about a fantail is it is a very hardy fish. They are very good in the pond environment, so it has really nice strong genetics going into this fish, and also with the ryukin as well, they weren't anything too extreme in body shape, so I believe the fish that he's produced are going to be a really nice solid strong fish, and it's going to be really interesting to see when he back crosses what coloration he'll get, and if he'll potentially start to get a more rounder body shape if he goes for that tamasaba route, or if he goes for a sarasa, maybe he'll get slightly longer body shape. But it's going to be really interesting in this experiment to see what comes out of it in the next few years. You'll notice a few of the brown or bronzy coloured fish that haven't quite molted yet, and you'll see these have a really nice shape to them as well. In this still image, you'll see that they have that hump of the ryukin, but nothing too extreme. Now, he also did tell me that when he raised these fish, he used liquid fry, egg yolk and ground up pellets until they were able to consume chopped up bloodworm and small other frozen foods as well. Now here is a picture of that sarasa comet I mentioned earlier that he is thinking of crossing over with. Now this isn't the exact fish, but that was just an example of one. So you can see if we have maybe some calico fish and the metallic fish, it's going to be interesting to see if a sort of Japanese style sarasa comet will provide a lot more red or benny into the fish and sort of strengthen those colors, maybe add a nice new set of genetics as well. And it's going to be interesting to see overall how these fish develop and sort of what comes of it. You may say, well, this isn't a traditional fish, this is just a runt or a mutant of two fish together, and it doesn't really have any place in the goldfish world. However, I completely disagree with that, and we wouldn't end up with a lot of the fish we have today if there wasn't this experimenting going on and trying different things. Now that is the end of the footage, but hopefully you really enjoyed to see these fish and see how a breeder can cross two different goldfish together and produce something slightly different, and it will be really interesting to see how these fish develop. So that is the end of the footage, and I'm just going to wrap up the video. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you found it quite interesting seeing how two different fish body shapes and body structures come together and produce some slightly different or new variety, a slight play on the ryukin and the fantail mixed together. It was really interesting to see the single tail fish and the double tail fish as well, which I prefer the double tail personally, but obviously those single tail fish will be slightly closely related to a common goldfish, and as we know with common goldfish, they are slightly more faster than our slow moving fancies, and they have a little bit more power at feeding, so maybe they will grow slightly faster, maybe they will compete with the double tail fish if they were kept in the same environment. Who knows? It's quite an interesting thing, and I really appreciate John for sending in this video and providing me with all of the information I've relayed to you guys in the video. So that is it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you do want to become a GSGB member, you can email Star Fisheries. You can just go onto their website, pop them an email, and you will get your quarterly newsletter. You'll also be able to go to events, and you will be able to connect with other hobbyists as well. And I myself am a member, as is John that provided the videos today. But that is it for today's video. I'm going to stop waffling on. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and hopefully John will be able to answer them, or I'll try my best to answer any of your comments. But as always, thank you all for watching. Remember to keep those water changes up, and happy fish keeping.